Okay, your next fight you've just mentioned has been just been announced. You're going to be fighting Denis Kang at UFC 105 in Manchester. How important is it going to be that you're actually fighting in your own backyard for this fight?
I mean, to be honest, it's not particularly important. I'm obviously very excited about the fact of to be fighting in Manchester again. The first time I fought in Manchester is definitely one of the high points of my career. I'll never forget the reception I got. The crowd were just absolutely incredible. You know, I mean, I wouldn't like to repeat some of the things that the boxing writers said because it sounds, you know, just so arrogant to repeat it. But they said they'd never heard, you know, receptions like it, you know, from certain fighters and stuff. So I won't say who because it's just all giving the keyboard warriors a chance to insult me. But yeah, to be fighting back in Manchester, you know, I'm very, very excited. To answer your question, you said how important is it? It's you know, it's going to be nice, but it's not particularly important. You know, obviously I got booed at the last one. I think there was a bit of pantomime involved there. You know, it was the culmination of the Ultimate Fighter series, and you know, I was the foreigner, if you will. You know, plenty of people have been booed when they fought me in England, so it's only fair that I'm on the receiving end sometimes. But I'm not really bothered who it is or where it is that I fight. After the last fight, I just want to fight again, ASAP, put that behind me, and get back to winning ways again.
How important is it coming into this fight that you get a good win? What I mean by a good win is maybe a stoppage or a very dominant decision win over Denis Kang.
Oh, absolutely. I want a dominant win, simple as that. And fingers crossed, you know, that's what I'm going to do. Denis is a very, very tough opponent. You know, I've been obviously since you know, when the fight was lined up, I've been, you know, watching his fights a little bit more than what I used to do. I've been researching him a little bit, and he's very good. You know, he's very athletic. He's explosive. He's very skilled. He's a good striker, good jiu-jitsu, good wrestler. You know, but very, very good all round. So you know, it makes him very dangerous. He's a dangerous opponent. But that's what I want. You know, there's no way I wanted to fight somebody that excuse me. There's no way I wanted to fight somebody that wasn't highly regarded by MMA fans or people in the know, you know, people who know in the business. So, yeah, I think it's a good fight. I think it has the makings of a very exciting fight, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, of course, I've got to win big. I feel, you know, like my back's up against the wall here, and the pressure's on. You know, I feel I've got to prove to people that I can compete at this level.
Okay, you've lost once previously in your MMA career. You lost to Rashad Evans, and many people said you didn't lose that night. It was a very close decision that people thought you'd actually got the nod on. How much pressure are you going to feel coming into this one, as it was such a
devastating loss?
Yeah, a devastating loss.
Don't worry, don't beat around the bush. Just say what you see. Yeah, you know, I've got to, as I said, I've got to come back big, and yeah, the pressure is on. But that's great. To be honest, this is when I fight best. You know, in these type of situations, I always perform the best. You know, so and fingers crossed that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, you know, it sounds like such a cliche. They always say you learn from your losses, but you know, I think you do. You know, you've got to sit back and look at things you were doing wrong. I think I consistently overtrain. You know, as I've said before, I'm not making any excuses. Nothing to do with Dan Henderson or the fight. I went out there and I fought the way I fought, but I think I do consistently overtrain, which is something I need to address. I always say I address it, but I never do. Rampage has been on me for quite a while about overtraining, and you know, sometimes I don't listen to my coaches as much as I should do. Fortunately, we've gone away after the fight and things like that. I've got no choice, you know, not to overtrain. The fight's 10 weeks away now. Normally, I mean, the last fight I was training for about 15, 16 weeks flat out. Obviously, overtraining had nothing to do with it because he knocked me out, you know, so I'm not making excuses, but I was overtrained, so that's something I'll address this time. And you know, there's a few other things, you know, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from experience, you know, so I'm going to be fully prepared for this fight, to fight at the best of my potential, and I plan on winning big.
You've talked about Kang's abilities. How do you think you match up with him? And do you see any holes in his game that you can exploit?
I'll be honest, he seems like a very complete fighter. You know, as I said before, he's got all areas of the game he seems very good at. He seems to have a very good double leg takedown that he's got a high success rate with. He seems like a very competent kickboxer. Good right hand he's put a few guys away with. Obviously, he's very good at as well. He's got a great ground game. He's a black belt. He trains at American Top Team, and and everyone knows the level of jiu-jitsu that they have down there. So yeah, he doesn't seem to have any glaring weaknesses. He seems like a very complete fighter. That said, I think if I go out there and fight, the way I can fight, the way I've shown in the past, and not give him, I think I'm not to give him too much respect in this fight. I have to go out there and take the fight and dictate the fight, and bully him. That's what I've got to do, and that's what I plan on doing. I'm going to go out there and hopefully, obviously, touch wood, I'm going to go out there and fight my fight and not give him a chance to get into his game and bully him about the cage.
So can we expect a return to the old type of Michael Bisping that we saw against Charles McCarthy
exactly
and Jason Day?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm pissed off. That's exactly what you're going to be seeing. A return to the old Michael Bisping. I'm not asked about winning. I just want to kick some ass. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick some ass. It's what I do best. Sometimes I think maybe I've tried to become too technical or whatever. Trying to get too technical on my footwork and all the rest of it. Sod that. I'm just going to go out there. In these tough economic times, people are forking out a lot of money to go watch fights. And I, for one, as a professional fighter, appreciate people coming out and spending the hard-earned money to watch us and to help, give us a career. So they want to see an exciting fight, and that's what I'm going to give them. I'm going to go and, I want to give the people of Manchester and the people paying for the pay-per-views around the world, I want to give them something worth watching. So I'm going to go out there and put a show on.